You know, one day I will figure out how to enter this frame properly, but today is not the day. I'm just gonna have to go with it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Imani and hi, we are at 2,000 subscribers. Golly geez, there's 2,000 of you. That's weird. That's 2,000 people are perceiving me. I simply cannot. I'm not gonna dwell on that too much because the sheer volume of that number gives me a lot of anxiety, so I'm just gonna move on. Today, in this video, we will be discussing main character syndrome. I don't know why I did that with my fingers, that was a bit weird. We all know main characters do this. Main character syndrome, and if anyone should actually be the main character. I had filmed this video previously, yesterday. However, I decided to film it right after getting the vaccy, and I thought that I could simply brute force my way through it, and looking back at the footage, I was delirious AF. I was not making sense, so we're just gonna have to try and do this again with a post-vaccy symptoms headspace. My arm's still sore, but that doesn't mean the hand gestures will stop. You know me, I can't not punctuate every sentence I speak with my hands. I have to do this. It's in the contract. I'm contractually obligated to do this. Since we're discussing main characters, I thought I would put on my jazziest outfit. I look like I'm a star in a TV show. Probably a sitcom, honestly. I have sitcom energy. Oh, to be the main character. Wouldn't I know about that? In this video, like I said, we will be discussing main character syndrome. However, unlike most of the videos I've seen people talking about this whole thing, I'm not really going to be looking at it from a narcissistic point of view, because from all the videos, from not all, I couldn't have possibly watched all of them. I mean, I know I spend a lot of time on YouTube, but not that much time. But from a lot of the videos that I've seen, most people are talking about main character syndrome from the point of view of that it can make you more narcissistic, which I might even go as far as to say that that is even more feeding into the narcissism when you're telling people not to be the main character because they're thinking too much about themselves while discussing themselves. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else, but that made a lot of sense to me. So I'm going to try and talk about it from a societal perspective, or like a societal point of view. How main character syndrome, or this whole main character perspective, might affect our society as a whole. Because, you know, big brain energy, it's what I do here. I do get silly and goofy, but sometimes we put on our thinking caps, and this is me putting on the thinking cap. So what is this whole main character syndrome that I'm talking about? Here we go again. This whole main character syndrome that I'm talking about. Being the main character is something that came up about sometime in 2020 when we're in the trenches of the panini press. It came from TikTok mostly, and it's all about romanticizing your life and living every day like you have people watching you. You are that B. You're living the storyline. You are having the moments that everyone else wants to be having. You could be put on a TV show because your life is just so chef's kiss. Amazing. I don't have a problem with that to an extent. My main issue with main character syndrome, or main character point of view, or main character POV, you're the main character, sorry. This whole main character mentality is, my problem with it isn't the romanticizing your life, but it slightly tethers towards the narcissism, but not all the way. It becomes an issue for me when you stop recognizing yourself as a human being going through the human experience just like everyone else. The main character ideology strives to make you seem as unique and special at the expense of everyone else. Because for you to be the main character, other people have to be the side characters. Other people have to be the NPCs, the background noise. That point of view and that type of thinking leaves space for some pretty problematic ideologies and pretty problematic ways of behaving. I, for one, did subscribe to the whole main character point of view, or POV, as we in my community say. The fanfic community. Maybe one day I'll do a video on fanfic, but honestly I'm not ready to call myself out like that because me and YN are still living, I'm still living my YN fantasies, and I think that's why I connected so much to the whole main character thing. I too did subscribe to the whole main character thing for some time, and only recently have I been realizing that, ooh, this is a bit, it's a bit, I wish I could properly explain things for once in my life without just using nonsensical effects, but hey, here we are. These are the cards that I was dealt with. Began to realize that in my seeing myself as the main character, my point of view really did start becoming self-centered, not only to the point where I was finding myself becoming a bit narcissistic, which a lot of people have talked about, but I stopped recognizing other people as people, which is weird. Like, when you're the main character, you spend so much time in your own head and listening to your own inner monologue and focusing on your own experiences and your own thought processes and your own just being, that it becomes hard for you to be able to look outwards and realize that everyone else is also doing the same thing, which leads me to my root problem with the main character syndrome, which kind of ties into individualism, but not the whole concept of individualism. I'm not completely against it, but just stay with me for a minute and let's dive into individualism. It's gonna be me. And my face looks so good today, and I haven't even put on makeup, but I don't want to put face paint on it now. It's not even face paint, it's still acrylic paint. Imani, when will you invest in actual face paint? Until my acrylic paint finishes, we will not be having that discussion. I'm gonna paint my collarbone because, fun fact, my collarbone is actually in the top 3 of my favorite body parts of myself. But wow, that white is so light you cannot even see it on my melanated self. I like how every time something fails, I just say fuck it and make a heart. It's my branding, what can I say? Anyways, individualism, let's talk about it. Let's talk about me. Individualism is basically the prioritizing oneself and one's own individual experience over the collective or the group or society. Individualism is nothing foreign, it's nothing new, it's been a rising ideology for a while, especially in the West. I feel like Western society mostly tends to lead towards individualism. From my perspective, I feel like my country is kind of adopting this type of mentality as well, a little bit, but we're mostly still a bit more collective leaning. For those of you who do not know, I am of the East African variety. I'm Kenyan. I was going to wave this. I thought I had my Kenyan bracelet on, but I only have my rainbow one on. We all have Kenyan bracelets. It's like something that's given to us at birth. If you don't know it, you know it, but if you don't, it's here. That's what it is. I don't know where mine went. Did I just lose my citizenship? Individualism is nothing new, and I'm connecting it to the main character syndrome because I feel like it is the natural progression of individualism, especially the type of individualism that we see present in Gen Z. The only generation I feel comfortable talking about because it is my own. I am a Gen Zer, hello. Whoa.
Electric chair.
The main character syndrome is just another progression of individualism, or individualism of the Gen Z variety. I don't have a problem with individualism entirely, per se. My problem with individualism is prioritizing oneself so much so that you neglect the collective. So is my problem with individualism in itself? Maybe. With individualism, everything you do is to serve you, is to push you further, and is to build you up as a person, which I mean mostly even could tie into capitalism, because we know capitalism, she gets her sneaky fingers into literally everything. Can we have peace? Will we know peace? Will we know no peace, capitalism? Huh? You tend to see it creep up into every aspect of our lives, and mostly in like the, I don't know, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You are the master of your own destiny. You can do anything. Oh dear. You can do anything that you put your mind to, etc., etc. I'm not saying all those things are wrong, but I'm just saying when we look at things like that, we tend to ignore the systemic factors in place, stopping people from getting certain places, you know? I feel like individualism, sometimes the whole notion of you're responsible for your own destiny and your own placing in life, tends to forget or neglect systemic factors that do hinder people from progressing in life and reaching certain places that other people with more privileges awarded to them at birth are able to achieve. Trying to draw a leaf. I should have probably made it green, but I like the whole red thing. I feel like it suits me. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm just gonna leave that there and continue with what I was talking about. The main character syndrome feeds into individualism in that we are so focused on ourselves that we forget that other people are out here doing the same thing that we're doing, which is living the human experience and going through things and feeling emotions. Like I said, I also got to the point where I forgot to start acknowledging that other people are living beings. I was so much so in my own head that it never even occurred to me that other people can also be in their own head, and other people also have internal monologues that they're constantly listening to and letting affect their day-to-day lives. The main character syndrome does feed into narcissism, which is an issue, which is greatly talked about, like I said. But I feel like the threat of the main character syndrome not only lies in the potential for narcissism that it has, but the main danger is our isolation from society as a whole, or our neglection of other human beings living and existing. I feel like it could lead towards the death of empathy, which some would say is already dying because it's really hard to get people to understand that everyone is a human being. But I mean, I know this is a dire situation, but I feel like the continuing of this thinking could lead towards the death of empathy. And we have to sit there and ask ourselves, should anyone really be the main character? What makes you more important than anyone else? This whole thing that we've had built into us from early childhood, that we're all unique and special and no one is like us and we're God's gift to this planet and the heavens should thank us for existing. I mean, this whole mentality should just scrap it up, throw it away, because at the end of the day, no one is special and that's fine. We're all just people living, most of us replaceable really. I mean, a lot of us replaceable. There's nothing that really tends to make us different from other people. If you really look at it, there's nothing unique about you. That sounds rude. I'm not trying to say it in a rude way, but at the end of the day, we just have to recognize that we're all people, and that's just it. There's nothing that differentiates me from someone I see walking across the street from me, or my neighbor, except maybe I don't cry at all hours of the night and ruin the filming for Imani when she's trying to get some good audio, but that's besides that. They're people just like me. Maybe they cry more, but hey, tiny humans tend to do that. What I'm trying to say is that in individualism, I feel that only certain people are allowed to be individuals. And under this mindset, not everyone is allowed the privilege of being an individual. And most of these issues are rarely ever the decision of oneself, whether they get to see themselves as an individual or not, or whether society gets to recognize their own individualism or not. I'm coming from this as someone who is middle class. I can get up here and put on my little tripod, record on my little camera, and talk onto the interwebs and discuss things like this, and get to do this and talk about how people should be people and all that other stuff, and we should recognize other people's we should recognize that other people are people. But it's important to understand that not everyone has the privileges that you do. Not everyone's allowed to be a person, or not everyone's allowed to be seen as a person just by the way our society is built. I mean, even talking about like socio-economic factors coming into play, people who are living on the poverty line, working class individuals, they don't get to romanticize their life, and they don't get to live this whole fantasy and being the main character and only I matter, because shit, they have things to do, they got bills to pay, and like try to keep a roof over their head. And that does not even begin to describe the complexities of like the dehumanization of people who don't have roofs over their head, and how people don't even see the homeless as people anymore. But that's a whole nother discussion. I mean, I've talked about the whole relationship with like autonomy and capitalism almost. I feel like I've had that discussion in the whole I Don't Dream of Labor video, which is up there somewhere. You can go watch that after this. It's important to recognize, because when you're seeing yourself as the main character, other people are side characters, and those side characters are not any more or any less important than you are. It's vital. It's so important for you to realize that your experience and you being a living, breathing creature is not more important than anyone else. Being a living, breathing creature, you're not more special than anyone. You're not more unique than anyone. No one is special and no one is unique. We're all just sort of here on a fucking rock floating in the middle of space, circling a giant ball of fire, and we're all just kind of here doing it, and none of that makes you more important or makes anyone else less important. I said I was gonna paint my face. I don't want to paint my face. I decided no. Today it's collarbone appreciation. We're gonna appreciate it by covering it in questionable doodles, as I typically do. So all this thinking has led me down to a rabbit hole where I have to sit down and ask myself, am I against individualism? Because for the most part, I thought I was a pretty individualistic person and someone who really did believe in the liberation of the individual and all that stuff. But I came to the conclusion that to be an individual, you cannot separate yourself, the groups that you belong in. An individual belongs to a group, and you can't take out the individual and exist as a sole individual, because we live in a society. No one exists and lives on their own, unless you're a hermit living in, I don't know, the forest somewhere. Then I guess you can be an individual. But our lived experiences affect everyone else's lived experiences. No one lives in a bubble by themselves, you know? Where I'm trying to get into this whole discussion of individualism and the main character syndrome is that you can still exist as an individual and be yourself and have your own identity, but have it tie into the society that you live in. Everyone is somebody's friend or someone's child or someone's, I don't know, teacher. I mean, everyone has a relationship to someone else, is what I'm trying to get at. And we could find our own personal identity in those different relationships that we hold. Yes, I love it when I articulate myself. It is so great. I want to give myself a pat on the head. I just realized how I have red all over my hands. It looks like I've murdered someone. Did I? Maybe. But I'm not gonna put that out on the internet now, am I? Have I answered the question of the video? Should anyone even be the main character? No, because individualism is nonsense. Like, no one exists on their own, so how the hell can you even be the main character? You're not that special, but it's fine because nobody is. I'm reeking with positivity. And with that, my darlings, we have reached the end of the video. Make sure to like the video if you liked the video. Why wouldn't you like the video? I put on my best outfit for you and I look gorgeous today. Aside from this, you should like the video. Make sure to subscribe to see my lovely face every whenever I'm here. Yes. And also to join my growing community of 2,000 people. Oh dear, I feel I'm going to do something special for it. Don't worry. I have plans of celebration. So for my cult members, please be easy. Your fearless leader has something in the works. Make sure to share this video if you have someone in your life who you feel like is taking this whole main character thing too much to heart. Send it to them and let them know, sis, you're not the only one here. Hi. Yeah, like, comment, share. Did I say comment? I want you to comment. Comment. I'm serious. Comment. Let me know. Comment. I speak a lot. It's nice to hear what other people have to say. Comment, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye. Homie, look at this. This is the cleanup process. This is what I have to do all the time. Do you know how much I spend on wipes? So much. Should I just get a washcloth? I mean, probably. It's a more environmentally conscious thing to do. But like, I'm gonna have to wash the washcloth and I'm too lazy for that. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.
It's 5:50 something and I feel so empty inside.